Hello, Kathy Wilson here. I wanted to take a few minutes and share an idea that I have that is about the unmeasurable cost of scams. So, a lot of people report the scam that's happened to them. They report how much money they lost, and that data is gathered by country, perhaps. I'm kind of talking about the United States here, but these ideas apply to other countries as well and to the world entirely. So, but the people report, some of them do, and that cost, that financial cost to citizens in the United States is measured. The unfortunate piece here is that many people, and we have no idea how many people, don't report. And so we don't capture that number of people. We don't capture that amount of financial loss to these individuals. And so there's already an unmeasurable cost built into that piece of this that people often don't report. And so in that there's also additional unmeasurable costs that, and when I say that, I mean they're difficult to quantify. The things I'm going to talk about, they're very difficult to actually measure because there's so much we don't know. But one of those unmeasurable costs is suicide. Unfortunately, too many people, one is too many. Too many people complete suicide and never tell a soul why. And their family may realize it after the fact, but there are quite a few people, unfortunately, that this is their solution. Some of the reason for so many people keeping it secret, for people completing suicide without telling anyone, is they feel compelled to keep this secret because there's so much shame associated with being scammed. That shame comes from victim blaming and stigma associated with this crime. So this is a crime that happens to a person, but we often blame that person for not knowing that it was a scam from the first moment. And that isn't always possible. And that's hard sometimes for people to take in, but that's quite true. That sometimes human beings just aren't able to detect that they're being lied to and being manipulated. And so, at any rate, this victim blaming and stigma is such a powerful aspect of being scammed that people withdraw and they do not report it, and some never tell anyone. So, along with not being able to measure the financial loss to those people, there's also the suicide, as I mentioned, and there's also a loss of productivity. So, what do I mean by that? When I say loss of productivity, I mean that this person who has been scammed, they are emotionally distressed. They are distracted at work. They may need days off because they're so distressed. They may make mistakes, have difficulty concentrating. And this all comes from losing sleep and just ruminating about what happened. Lots of emotional effects ultimately end up being lost productivity at work. Now, this can also affect people they're in relationships with. The other person may not even know a scam has happened, but they do know that there's been an impact to the relationship because this person is withdrawn or they've become very angry all the time. You name it, lots of emotional reactions happen. And so their productivity, these people the scam victim is in relationship with, those people may also have a loss of productivity at their job. So I mentioned this because that loss of productivity adds up and ultimately affects our entire economy. With less productivity, our economy is less robust. And so that's one piece. And then a third piece is that the money lost is often going out to people, criminals in other economies. So that money goes out of our country, it's lost and not used in our economy. And that may be short term and long term, but that also affects our economy as a whole. So, my whole point I'm finally getting to here is that this serves all of us well to all work against stigma associated with scams, victim blaming associated with scams. Talk to each other about money, about things that happen. Be supportive. And you can find out more about that by listening to other videos on my channel here. If you know someone who was scammed or you work with people who have been scammed, I've got entire online courses that can help you understand what happened and the manipulative techniques that scammers use and how to help the person who was scammed. So lots of resources here and in my courses and on my website that is scamsurvivorhealing.com. I hope this is helpful and thank you so much for listening.